I want to run you guys through some things that I've learned from this gutter install that I did not do on previous gutter installs that are probably painfully obvious, but made a huge difference in this install and completely changed the way that I install gutters. Hello everybody, and welcome to the Terraform Homestead. For those of you who are new to our channel, we are an off-grid homestead out in the Sonoran Desert, teaching natural building and sustainable living. This week, we're coming to you with an exciting new project. We are finally working towards getting water sustainable out here. I got a quote a little while ago for having some seamless gutters installed. It was about $1,200. That is way outside of my budget and completely ridiculous. So, luckily, we had a supporter that was getting rid of some gutters, so I went and picked those up today. We have gutters for our workshop, little tiny house, the hyper adobe, and the side of our workshop. Gonna be getting those installed, gonna be making some rain barrels, gonna be trenching, and getting set up for monsoon season, which will be here quicker than we know it. Fatty? Yeah. Some crickets. I'm super excited because I was able to get some of these pieces in really long, seamless runs. The sticks themselves were like 56 feet, something like that. This one I was able to get back in like a 28-foot section. It's pretty sketchy on my truck, but that means I'm gonna be able to do one seamless gutter on this. I did this in pieces last year, and it just, you can see it just, I suck at gutters. I suck at plumbing. Just, it's not a gift that I have been granted in this life, and so it's pretty janky, and I was getting a lot of like pooling and leaking issues last year, and also I just never even got it hooked up to a proper system, so there's that. I do have to do some cleanup and some repair on here, so you can see there was a downspout over here cut into there, which obviously that's no good, but I've got some scrap steel, and so I'm gonna just stick that in there, screw it in, call it good. Okay, so I figured out why I've been having so much trouble with putting this gutter in. It's because the building is sloped. So let me show you what the slope. Building is actually going this way. And so I'm trying to get the gutter to go this way. So you can see right here, when I lift that up, we're pretty significant slope from that side's the low side and this side's the high side. So trying to do the opposite of good here. I think I have a plan, but this is explaining why I was having so much trouble with the last set of gutters. Pretty janky, but at least it's not like a super popular spot to hang out in this space. So here's what I did to fix kind of this crazy drop. Just gotta stick 2x4 up underneath there, and then can attach to that. I'll paint that black. It is what it is. It's not the perfect homestead. We're just working with what we got. So that's the plan, and at least it's all coming down to the drain spout now. it seems every building that I've built out here is sloped in the wrong direction just a little bit, which makes it difficult to put gutters up. So what I'm having to do is come in and put like a little extension hanging down so I can get just a little bit of something to screw into on this part here. It looks real janky. It is what it is. We're a homestead. We're not perfect. I'm building out of dirt. Give me a break. Okay, so I got this gutter up. The next step is to start getting our rain barrels set up. This one, unfortunately, I cannot use for this purpose because it is more meant for like kind of collecting water, not being a first flush tank, because we have this big opening here. So what you want is as much height as you can get, height difference between your tanks and your top of your gutter line or your downspout. So basically what I'm going to be doing is using this one instead as two sealed compartments and then screwing into that so that way I can raise up that line to get a little more gravity feed because we're going to be putting these tanks in that hole eventually. I don't know that I'm getting to it this monsoon season, but that's a plan eventually. And I've only had that hole for like a year and a half now. So that's how everything goes out here. But the issue is we put this here to collect a little bit extra water last year, and so it is completely full, and it's 55 gallons, which is like, I don't know what, 400 and something pounds. So I'm gonna try and wobble it over to our jujube trees over there to hopefully give this water instead of just wasting 55 gallons. So I got the gutters up on the little Hyper Adobe. Very exciting. These actually went up a whole lot easier than really any of the other ones, surprisingly. Did have a friend come over this morning for about an hour. Yeah, help me hold stuff in place because these are like 20 feet long. So that would have been very challenging up there, but it's actually flowing really nicely. This building, unlike every other building I worked on, was actually kind of pretty level all the way across. And then I had a 8-inch fascia board on here, which I think that's just going to be standard going forward for me because that gave me plenty of room to get the appropriate pitch. So this one's flowing just nice and perfectly. I still have to do all the downspout, get the caps on. Still got a lot of work to do on all of these gutters, but that requires a supply run later today. And yeah, then we'll start collecting some rainwater. My least favorite part of Home Depot, plumbing. This is why I hate plumbing. 3-inch elbow, 3-inch PVC. Doesn't fit. I want to run you guys through some things that I've learned from this gutter install that I did not do on previous gutter installs that are probably painfully obvious, but made a huge difference in this install and completely changed the way that I install gutters. I don't know that the way I'm doing it now is the correct way to do it, but it seems to be a lot easier and work better. So in my mind, that's the correct way to do it. These gutters that we have installed, they're seamless, except we had to cut at 20 feet to actually transport them here. And just the way that these were installed just makes so much more sense to me than the way like a Home Depot gutter typically is installed. So the first thing that I've noticed is these kind of brackets. I don't know what these are called, but these kind of brackets, which I haven't seen at the hardware stores, are so much better than these kind of brackets with the screw in. These brackets with the screw in, I always like over tightened them and just had a lot of issues with them, like getting jammed up and just were problematic. Whereas these don't bend, and then instead of screwing them in like this, what they did on this install was every probably 4 inches or so, just put a screw in all the way down. So much more sense, so much easier, and at least from what I can see so far, so much more secure. So that was the first big revelation. Second revelation is these downspout gutters, unless you're actually putting downspouts, are completely pointless. And what they did on these was just cut a hole. I know, it sounds like very obvious to just cut a hole in the gutter instead of paying an extra $8 for the downspout, but for whatever reason, I never thought of that. So the way that we do gutters is for rainwater collection. So I get these 4 to 2 inch reducers, and then we just put a piece of screen material over this top so that way we don't get mosquitoes and stuff in our water tanks. And so we don't actually need that downspout gutter. So I'll show you guys on a couple of the buildings over there. I kind of cut an X and then pushed everything down. I think on this one, I'm gonna try and just use the hole saw, and then that will just butt up right nice and neat right underneath that gutter, so we're not gonna lose a lot of water. The last revolutionary thing that I found was when installing this one, because this was the only one of the gutters that I actually had to put a seam in. Home Depot sells you these little connector things. They are such a pain to work with. You still have to caulk the hell out of them, and they are like $4 or $5 a piece for each seam, which is a lot whenever you're getting 8-foot seams or 8-foot gutters over like a 32-foot length. So what I did instead on this one was actually just cut out this little lip. So we just ran the angle grinder along here for probably 12 inches, cut that little lip off, installed the high side on top, the low side on bottom, and then I'm just gonna caulk the hell out of it like I would on this anyways. And actually yesterday when we had our monsoon rain, I don't have a downspout installed in this and didn't get a chance to cut the hole in this. So this gutter was completely full of water. There wasn't a way for it to get out. And even this seam uncaulked here was leaking like very minimally. So I think once I get that caulked up, it's not gonna leak at all, especially once I get that gutter hole cut. So a lot of that, now that I see it, I feel like it's painfully obvious, but it's taken me this long in my building career to figure this stuff out. So hopefully that's helpful. Good little tips on installing a gutter a lot easier of a way. Okay, so here's what I've come up with for our downspout connection. And so this is a 4-inch to 2-inch coupling, I guess would be the right word. What I liked about these is they were actually cheaper than the PVC ones, and they came with these hose clamps. So I can clamp on some old window screen material, and what that's gonna do is make sure we keep mosquitoes from living in our tanks over there. Drilled a hole here in the coupling and just ran a bolt through that, and then put some of this plumbing pipe strapping on there, and then that will give us something to screw into. So this is our first connection, and that pipe strapping will just hang right there. We'll run our piping and do a couple more of those pipe hanger strappings, and then yeah, simple enough. Okay, so we got workshop set up, sort of. This is still kind of a temporary setup, but at least give us 100 gallons or so. I've got basically, this is from our main roof coming down, and then just a tee off from our little roof here. Every drop counts. Eventually what will happen here is This will tee off, come down, go underground, and fill up a tank over here that is sunk into that hole there. But that's a project for another day, another month, another time. What is nice about having this 55-gallon barrel here is this is what's called our first flush tank. So all the dirt and gunk and stuff like that that just lands on the roof, all the dust, all the bird poop comes down into this tank, which I will be putting a spigot in when those parts arrive. And then clean water comes up through the overflow. It goes into our main tank. So it keeps that a lot cleaner and means we have to clean our main tank a lot less. So cool. I'm so excited to have these gutters installed and be able to start collecting some rainwater. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see the full build of our workshop and how we took a bunch of pallets and dirt and rocks and concrete and a ton of reclaimed and salvaged material to make a budget workshop that works out in the desert, I've got that video queued up for you right now. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Next week we are coming out with our rainwater barrels getting attached to our gutter system so that we can collect water out here in the desert. It's very exciting. Got a couple more videos for you on this series, and we've got videos coming out every single week. Thank you guys for watching. Go build something cool.